What's going on, y'all? Kevin from YBK, checking back in with another topic. Just gonna freestyle topics, and I'm gonna freestyle what I'm talking about. And I'll probably continue to do that. That's just how I work best sometimes. But the last topic was selecting your breed and selecting your dog. So obviously, next step is what? Feeding and watering, right? Now, I think I told the story before about how I've been in with these working breeds since 1993 when I got my first pit bull. I've, everybody seems to be a professional about food, feeding. They all have their own technique and everybody has their own way, and that's cool. I say that to say this. Um, a lot of people haven't tried everything. I'm not saying I've tried everything, but I've tried a lot of different ways. I've had a 5 pound feeder that stayed out all day and the dog would just pick. I've fed kibble 3 times a day. I fed kibble 2 times a day. I've done half kibble, half raw. I've done full raw. Um, I've done 1-a-days. So this is what I do now. It's kind of like my program now. I do 1-a-days, except for puppies, nursing, females, and puppies go up to about 1 for me. I feed them twice a day until they're 1. And then once they're adult dogs, they get 1-a-days. And when you go full raw, you find out it can be expensive unless you have access to, meat market or a butcher or something that has scraps for cheap and stuff like that, or a farmer or something like that. So the full raw can be expensive, and I think that's one aspect that people leave out when they talk about feeding a lot. Everybody likes to brag about feeding and this, and then the third, but if you have one dog and you're fully raw, okay. But even then, not everybody has that kind of money. You understand what I'm saying? So I think they leave out the financial aspect sometimes. And of course, full raw diet for a dog is the best diet. I don't care what anybody has to say for you. I've seen it with my own eyes. So they can argue with it. They can tell me what they do with it. Then most of the time they've never done the whole spectrum. So, but then when you do full raw, and if you have multiple dogs, the shit becomes expensive, and you see that quick. So, like I just said, I've done it every which way. So I'll talk about what I do now because I have multiple dogs. So you get 1 meal a day when you're adult. Let's talk about adult dogs. Let's talk about puppies. Let's talk about nursing females. Let's talk about adult dogs. 1 a day. You're getting a good raw base, and we're variating protein sources. So they're getting chicken with bone, not cooked. They're getting the bone in there, people. These are dogs. Stop being scared of nature. This is what they do in the wild. They're getting bone in. Just don't cook it. It's probably the best and this is gonna even tell you why. This is why you don't cook bird bones, because bird bones are hollow so that they can fly. So when you cook them, they become brittle and they snap and they break and they become sharp. That's why they tell you don't cook them. Multiple different protein sources. So they get chicken, they get beef mostly. They get ground beef a lot. They get a lot of organs. They get chicken livers. They get chicken gizzards, beef liver sometimes. I feed them fish. My son hunts a lot, so he'll bag a deer. I'll have my freezer full of deer for a while. They get a lot of ground venison steaks, stuff like that. So I'll rotate protein sources. I don't give them a lot of chicken all the time like that. People have issues. Some dogs have issues with poultry, and people have done research, I'm sure. But that good raw base of that's just the meat part. We're getting veggies, mostly carrots, green beans, stuff like that. You can throw yogurt in there. You need some probiotics. Throw some stuff in there. You can vary shit, dude. Here's a little anecdote. The oldest living dog I think he recently passed was in Portugal. His motherfucker lived to like 38 years old or some shit like that, and he was fed table scraps his whole life. you know. So yeah. So with the raw base, that goes over some kibble. and I don't use some top of the line crazy high price kibble because kibble's filler. So I don't understand the people who want to spend a whole lot of money on filler. Spend more money on your raw and your veggies and your yogurt or whatever else you're using, fish oils and whatever the hell, coconut oil, whatever else you're using. Spend your money on the raw part, and then get a decent grade of kibble that you can pronounce the ingredients. And they get a little kibble base, and they get the raw on top. And you can water it down or whatever you want to do, soak it, because people talk about consumption rates with raw versus kibble. But dogs are scavengers, bro. They eat trash if you leave them outside. They eat carcasses and shit. Like, come on, man, stop being ridiculous with this shit. So yeah, multiple dogs, when it becomes a financial thing, 50-50 is pretty good. It's better than all kibble. And I say that because especially with pit bulls, all right? And even with my Roddy, I've seen it because when he was younger, he was kibble. He was kibble up until he went raw. He went full raw, and now he's at 50-50. But I've seen the skin issues with the pits, with the kibble, with all kibble. I've seen the weight that it can pack on at dogs, because it's just filler. So if you feed kibble, just kibble, and you're feeding kibble 3 times a day or something like that, and you're overfeeding, the dog's gonna balloon up. That's why a lot of people in America have fat ass dogs. That's what it is. So yeah, I do 1-a-days with a 50, probably more like a 60-40 blend. 60 raw and about a 40 kibble base, and then you get 1-a-days. We feed about 3-4 days in a row. Take a dry day. So you get about one dry, sometimes 2 dry days a week. And then if they seem wormy or anything like that, you could dry them out longer. Some people do 2, 3, 4 days. People get scared to let the dogs not eat, but in the wild, dude, dogs don't eat every day. They're not gonna have a kill in a huge meal every single day. They're gonna get where they can scavenge or forage, and they're gonna keep it moving, or not find anything at all sometimes. And it's okay. It's okay to fast. It's okay for humans to fast too. So yeah, if you have a lot of money and you have multiple dogs, go raw fully. If you have one dog and you can afford it, go raw fully. If you have multiple dogs and you're not balling out like that, and you can afford to go 50-50, go 50-50. If you're on a real budget and you have a dog and you can't afford anything else, you're gonna have to feed kibble, right? And just try not to overfeed if you're gonna feed stray kibble. Peace.